This is a view of the rear canopy skirt on a slider RV7 canopy. The way that this works, Vance wants you to start with the C-666 part, put it on top, and then drill and cleco and have somebody pull on the front really hard until you get the shape. However, I found out that many people had trouble with that, and in looking at other ways to do it, I was able to find a way to just bend the piece into shape as you are drilling and clecoing, and you get much better fit and being tight to the aft bulkhead. So I still need to do the other side. I will show how that process goes. Okay, so this is a view of the side skirt. I noticed that this area over here that is not supported is not flush against the fuselage, so the only way to take care of that is to pre-bend it so that it's in the right place before we do the rear skirt. So I'm gonna take this out, bend it to shape, and then continue. All right, so after some iterations of taking the side skirt out and bending it and fitting it, clecoing it back up, I'm pretty happy with the fit that I have now all around, particularly in this area. This corner over here will get cut off later on, but for now I'm just leaving it there. I'll deal with that later on. And then we'll continue with the top rear skirt. All right, so I've taken all the clecos from this side. However, I left the clecos on the side skirt so that the canopy keeps its position. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drill that first hole up here with the hole finder tool. This one is made from hacksaw blade drilled into places and with a rivet. You can find this out on Van's instructions. This part is there's no change to that. You slide it in and then put it over the hole. Now align the skin roughly where you want it. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna mark where that first drill goes. You can't really go through it because you have the bottom side of the tool, but you can put it off to the side, finish drill, make sure you don't damage the skin or the canopy. And now you have your first hole. That's kind of like where everything comes from. It basically starts from that point on. And that's it, that's the first one. So now, what I'll continue is I'll put a couple more. There's no need to bend in place yet, but I want to establish the direction for this, and then we'll continue with the details of the process that I actually followed for this. Okay, so I've drilled the first 3 holes. Every time that you drill a new hole, you have to take all the clecos out to finish drilling it, put all the clecos back in, move on to the next hole, mark it with the drill first, and then repeat the process until you're going. But this is the part of the procedure that is slightly different from what Vance tells you to do. They tell you to basically have somebody pull on this end all the way really hard, so while you drill these holes to put it in place. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to put mark some lines that are going to be the bend lines so that this piece C-666 uh, kind of like have the bend that it needs to have before we actually do it. And those lines are basically perpendicular to the fuselage all the way down, basically uh, going down towards the aft end. Okay, and I do it like every 2 rivets or so. Also, what I did here that is different, I have not riveted the back of the fuselage yet. I basically clear coat it from the inside out, and that gives me the ability to do other parts of the build and have access to the backside when I start putting antennas and avionics and all that. And I continue doing this here. And once all these lines are done, we'll move on to how I go about bending it. Again, this is just something that I learned myself a few days ago. Did the first side, it was a lot of work, and I figured that it'll be something good to share. When we get to this area down here, it's going to be slightly different because you transition from a bend that goes in this direction to a bend that goes along the fuselage, and also it gets a little bit compounded because this area over here where the canopy, the frame, and the side skin meet gets thicker, so it makes it very challenging to get this last bend done. But for now we can start this part of the process. Here's a shot of the lines that we drew before, and I'm gonna bend along those lines. I'm gonna use a section of 3-inch PVC pipe for that radius, and I'm going to align the line with the length of the pipe, and then we'll start bending. If you see, it kind of like changes the direction of the metal. They're not perpendicular to the metal, they're bent. And it's an iterative process. We go back, we put it up, we present it, we see how the bend is and what else we need to do here. You can see now that it's already taken kind of like a bend and a twist. And basically you have to keep adjusting it. Don't go too much. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna present it to the fuselage, see how far we're off, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so I have bended the initial shape. I put it back up here, and I kept going back and forth and bending it more and more until it pretty much follows the contour of the fuselage. Let me put the first 3 clecos back in. And you'll see that already is a pretty good fit as is, even without having to pull or do anything on it. Now what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna drill the rest of the holes like I did before. I'll pull a little bit on it to the front, but I don't really have to pull much, and it'll make it really, really tight. As you pull forward, you can see that this have a pretty good clearance here. All right. Okay, so now we got to this area over here where I mentioned before that it gets a little bit complicated because of this thickened area here and the bend of the fuselage changes. So I tried a few things on the other side. What I think I'm gonna do this time is I'm gonna try to create a bend as if the bend was around this BC area here. So the line that I'm gonna put down is this way, kind of like to the edge. Now keep in mind that this will be trimmed to this point. So this is the end of the actual piece right over there. So I'm gonna bend based on this line, and instead of bending parallel, I might do a kind of like a fan. So all the bend will start on this side at this point, but they will change angle on the other side. And I'll try that out and see what happens. I'll have to take out all the clecos, take the piece out, bend it, present it again, and keep iterating. Okay, so here's the part. This is the aft bottom corner, and these are the lines that I drew before at an angle. So let's start bending, see what happens. If not, I'll have to bend it back. Okay, so I'm gonna go clockwise back and then we'll check the fit, and we will continue filming then. Okay, so here's the progress so far. This area over here is a little bit high. We can bend that down this way, that'll help. All around the curve here seems to be pretty good fitting. And then when it gets down to the side, it starts to open up. So what I'm thinking of doing now is I'm gonna bend along this line a little bit more. That will push this down. Now this is not riveted yet or not cleckled yet, so it'll also have some pull forward that would help it, and that will be the end of it. Now this area over here it gets to be very complicated and messy. I'm gonna stop the video here. All that is left to do is I'm gonna mash drill the holes for the rivets in here, making sure that there is clearance on the back. Make this tidy up, and hopefully it ends up like the other side. If you like the video, please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.